stuff, thank you. And as for Unconvention and its ethos, when you were first approached to get involved, what were your initial thoughts? Were you already aware of Unconvention, or?
This is the first I've heard of it in Australia. I have heard of it in the UK. I'm as unconventional as you get. You know, they talk about 360 deals. My deals to my bands are 365. You know, I'm available 365 days of the year for any questions that the bands have got. You know, I'm available to one-on-one with my bands. They don't have to go through my PA or my postage clerk or my publicist or my whatever. You know, it's me. You know, and I don't work with bands who aren't willing to work as hard as what I work. I work pretty hard for what I do and what I try and offer the bands. I don't make any money. You know, I still work a job. I'm at home with 2 kids. You know, my label is my hobby. You know, everybody's got a hobby. You know, it keeps me busy. You know, it's just as expensive. Any hobby's expensive. You know, it's part of the fun. You know, I can be part of a product that artists, and I haven't got an artistic bone in my body. I can't play guitar, I can't sing, I can't do anything. I've always been a fan of music. I started buying music, and then in my life I bought a retail store. I was selling music, and now I'm part of the process of making music and getting it out there to the people. So, you know, it's this day and age, maybe unconventional isn't as unconventional as what people think it is. You know, it's maybe the major labels are the unconventional ones, and grassroots is back in. This is welcome to 1976. You know, this is it. This is rock and roll. This is punk, as punk comes.
Yeah, and you know, there's no better place in Australia. People would say Perth as well as Brisbane, but everyone here really works together. You know, there's the culture that we're all in this for the common good kind of thing, to get Brisbane music out there and to, you know, to really promote our scene as well kind of thing. So, and, you know, like what Simon's saying as well, you know, he doesn't play an instrument. I don't play an instrument as well, but I know what my skills are, and that's the planning and the, you know, all those other little things as well that, you know, all comes together. So it just shows, you know, there's careers for everyone in the music industry is another thing as well.
Yeah, and Brisbane as a city, and I look at it from a tourist point of view. I didn't grow up here. It's quite culturally void. You know, it's there's more sports fans in Brisbane than what there are music fans. You know, so the community kind of unites together. You'll find, I mean, I find it on my label that most of the bands are interwoven or connected by either one music member or multiple music members. You know, there's I could do a festival of 10 bands, I think, where there would be a intertwining family tree of at least one person who would interconnect to all the bands, and that's part of the community. You know, I mean, you'll find singers from bands not a problem getting up singing or playing with another band. You know, it's
healthy culture.
It's a healthy culture, you know, and you know we haven't got that cultural beauty of, say, a city like Melbourne, you know, which they can cross-pollinate their sporting activities with their art and their music, and it's a thriving metropolis. But, you know, Brisbane punches above its weight and has for the last 5 or 6 years, and I think it's because that it is so hot in summer that a lot of people do stay inside. They go out at night time, you know, instead of going out during the daytime. You've got to do something. Let's go out and just be in an air-conditioned room and let's play some music. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It's built there.
And have you two met before, or did you know everybody else on the panel? Is there anybody you've come across here today that you haven't necessarily before, even though?
No, I've met all the people on the panel before.
There's the Shane and the other gentleman, the 2 digital guys I've never met before. Blair and I have been involved, you know, in a number of projects. I think Blair kind of looks up at me as a mentor role, and I'm more than happy to you know, be the old father time.
No, but that's right. That's
you know,
your
and that's
generation helping my generation.
That's
out,
right.
And
that's
then
what
I'll
I bring
help
to the
someone
table.
else out that's younger as well. So
that's right. That's right.
That's very healthy for the Brisbane music scene that is happening. You know, so yeah.
And what do you hope happens post this Unconvention? By being involved and sharing your knowledge, is there anything you hope is achieved from it?
I hope people, especially in Manchester then, that this is going back to, can look at our scene and maybe look it up and find out a bit more info about it and where we are in the world, as I did for the Manchester.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you, what are the comparisons between Manchester scene and Brisbane scene? Do you think there are any similarities? Or
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the culture of those bands working together, or you look at Innsbruck Carpets, and who else am I thinking of? Oasis and the Stone Roses, and that kind of whole scene. The whole factory and hacienda culture and all those kind of things back in the 80s and 90s. That was a thriving scene. This is a thriving scene in Brisbane now as well, with a lot of things going on and going well for it as well. So maybe that's one. Yeah,
it's like Manchester back in the early 90s.
Could be.
Yeah, but with less opportunities, I think, because you're in the UK, you've got Europe.
Yeah,
right next door.
Distance.
You've got 150, 200 million people that you can deal with. We're in a land which is the same size as Europe. We've got 6 capital cities. We've got 6 cities in Australia that are more than 1 million people. I mean, you can go from Manchester to Liverpool to London, a stone drop. Within 2 hours you could be in any one of those places on the train. We have bands that travel 1,000 kilometres to play in Sydney on a Friday night and be back here on the Saturday, Sunday to go to work on Monday. You don't understand the tyranny of distance. You don't understand the tyranny of no one turning up at your gigs. It's a hard slog, but it's a strong, and I think it builds the audiences and the bands kind of unite together, that they're one. And it's I always say to all my bands, look at every show as a practice. It doesn't matter if you're playing to the bar. It's a gig. You're having fun. I mean, I've got a couple of guys in my label that have never had a job. And I think you're doing okay. You're still living, you're still breathing, and you're still eating, and you're not working. So don't complain. And go out and busk for $150 an hour almost, tax free.
And is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to from Unconvention, either today or tomorrow, or what's been the highlight so far?
That was a bit of a highlight, actually.
I think giving your opinion out to an audience that doesn't turn on you is quite a highlight. And if
Did you learn anything?
Well, of course. I think that's if you don't get out of bed if you're not going to learn something, on a daily basis. It's.
What have you learned then?
Well, I've learned that more people actually do still get physical product. It's not all about digital. Everybody thinks that this whole music scene is dead. It's a dying art. It's not a dying art. There was a room full there of 150 kids that if they want to listen to me, it's go get them, Tiger. It's
and nothing stopping them from doing something in this scene as well, and creating something and then being on the panel next year or something like that. There's so many things that they can be doing as well. So turning out today to show their support for Brisbane music and learning about how the industry works is a great thing as well. And I learned a lot more about the technology side of things. I just know that I need to be doing more digital. Even if I love being able to do, my business loves being able to do the Brisbane Sounds record, as an LP and a digipack, because I love the digipack and I love the art, and putting a 12-page booklet in there that when we have it in consignment in a couple of stores and rough trade and stuff like that, a little British kid could pick it up and look through it and go, oh, this is what Brisbane looks like. You can't really do that with the digital, but I know that I still need to be finding a way to do it digitally, something like that, yeah.
Cool. Right, now this interview is going to be going on the webcam, and then hopefully all the people around the world are going to be seeing this. So have you got a message for them about Brisbane? Why Brisbane's unconventional?
Why Brisbane's unconventional? I was just going to give a plug to my website, actually.
Go on then, shameless plug.
Okay, if you really love music and you want to find out more about Australia and Brisbane, you should check out brisbanesounds.com. There's 70 odd bands on there, but the whole thing is about a holistic approach to the Brisbane music scene, from businesses in town to the bands, and everyone working together to create Brisbane as a music city. So I reckon people in Salford and Manchester and wherever should look at brisbanesounds.com.